It's really funny. We've been lucky enough to have a ton of sync success, especially with our first couple albums. And why I say it's funny is because we definitely were not thinking about sync when writing any of those songs. I look back on them now and I realize that having the hook of a song be I got it, or the main lyric of a song being Are you down? There's some pretty obvious sync workability there in the invitation and the simple language and stuff like that that companies have used in many different commercials and trailers and things. But I don't know. I think these days we think about it a little more. I will sometimes, in writing a lyric, just think about if it's an exciting thing that could be applied to a bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, at least in our process, I think just like making something that we love and want to listen to again and again is the most important metric, and the thing that all of those successful sync songs did when we were writing them.
And to piggyback off of that, Jeremy, I kind of laugh because when we started this, as you were saying, like we really didn't think about sync at all. And then we got very fortunate, but we were just world building and then people wanted to come along. And I sometimes find that the harder you try to work sync into your project, or if you think that this will fit, oftentimes you've already overshot it. And our original catalog, our first EP, is still the body work that gets the most sync opportunities, even still, almost 10 years later. So it's just funny. Sometimes when you try too hard, it doesn't end up happening.
It was kind of a long journey to the AirPods commercial for us. There were several years I remember of near misses, I guess you call them, where we heard like, oh, Apple really likes the song Lips. And we got really excited and something might happen. And then nothing did. And we were like, all right, well, somebody at Apple knows we exist and that is cool. And that kind of stayed the way things were for a couple years there. And it wasn't even until a year after Down had come out. Down was the first single of our album, Act One, and it did fine. But then we released other singles and we kept pushing and it had kind of moved on. And about a year later is when the Apple commercial finally came together. And even then, I think Sam and Ardie were able to see it in LA because they were out there at the Apple offices. I was not, so I was not able to see it. They would only show it to you, they would not send it. And even when it was that far along, there was still this like, we think it's going to happen. We think it's going to happen. And it wasn't until the very end that it actually did. And I think if I remember right, I was expecting it not to the whole time.
Yeah, I think we were cautiously optimistic. And if I recall, Apple is notoriously like very tight-lipped about everything that they do. And I think we saw that commercial like the day before it came out. Like there was not a lot of lead time. So it was cool. It was exciting.
My reaction to the looming, exciting, huge campaign that everyone was very excited that our song was in was, I'm pretty sure I will believe it when I see it. I just there'd been a lot of smoke about different syncs doing a big thing, and I was very like, okay, like let's see what happens. But it wasn't until we were like charting on the radio the week after the commercial happened that it really felt like, oh, this is actually having the impact that everybody said it would.
Yeah, I feel like we were cautiously optimistic. But just as a testament to Apple, when those first iPod commercials came out, we were in middle school or high school and they were so iconic. And I don't think, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but it's not like syncs are amazing, but I don't think you don't have this dream of being like, oh, I'm going to be in a big commercial. You have other dreams like, oh, I want to be signed or I want to tour the world. But Apple in particular is such an iconic company, had such iconic spots that it felt really impactful. That was cool and felt like a really awesome thing to be able to say that we were a part of. I don't think my perspective on sync has changed since Down. I think we were very fortunate. I think when we were writing it, Jeremy and I loved the song and knew and hoped it would be successful. I do think that Down was a perfect storm. I think there are a lot of things that matter. I think visuals are incredibly important. As we were saying, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of syncs with a lot of different songs and a lot of different capacities. And Down was by far the most successful. And I think the creative Of course, it was Apple, so it was incredible, but the creative was incredible. We felt like it really fit the song. It also aired during the NFL playoffs, which is one of the most still collectively watched events in the country, and it aired a bunch. So I think there are a lot of things that came together to make Down really work. But at the end of the day, Jeremy and I just wrote a song that we loved, and we were incredibly fortunate that Apple took notice and made some excellent creative to go along with it.